Hi there guys, I'm Stuart from Marshall Music, and tonight on Stu Chats I have with me the wonderful, delightful young singer-songwriter, artist, event promoter, all-round amazing woman,
Aww.
Alexandra May.
That's so kind, thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you for popping into Marshall Music and talking to me.
You're so welcome. I love it here. It's like another home.
Thank you. And you look wonderful.
Thank you.
Tell us about this outfit. What inspired it?
I know it's the Roaring 20s, but I know I was meant to be born in the 80s, so I'm bringing that in. And my favorite emoji is that fairy that does this, so I'm sort of living my best life doing that thing the whole time. So yeah, that's me.
Are you into this 20s thing that people are saying, like the guy should wear the suits and the hats and?
Oh, 100%.
But it gets so hot.
No shame, man. Shame. No. I'm so into it. I'm so into it.
It is cool. It is cool. I mean, I think everyone just like wears whatever they want, and we lazy dressers nowadays.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, especially men, they just wear sneakers, jeans, and t-shirts for any occasion.
I was talking to a friend the other day about this, and he was saying that he feels like everything's like limited for men. Like you get like this little corner in the back of a shop, and for girls it's like this whole big thing as you walk in. There's just clothes everywhere. For guys, the corner.
But maybe that's men's fault because they don't want to be more adventurous or smart or formal.
Perhaps then men should speak up about their fashion.
True. But thank you for upholding a sense of fun.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, okay, pleasure. Should we talk about music now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I always ask, how did you get into music? When did you start singing, playing guitar?
I started singing when I was a kid. I mean, I must have been 7 years old. I've got a younger sister who's 2.5 years younger. So she was 5, I was 7. Both started playing piano. I started playing the guitar as well. We'd enter competitions, and from when I was about 12, I was sort of earning money for my craft. I was doing gigs, doing corporates, working.
Child slave?
Not really, but I was 12. Yeah. And remember Garden World? I would work at Garden World. And when I was about 15, I tried musical theatre, but I knew that I wanted to hit this recording, writing, music, performing world, and that's where it just became focused. When I was 15, I went blinkers on, that's it, and it's been that way ever since.
Okay, and you were writing original music since
then? I've been
Okay.
writing since I was 12.
Yeah.
I've got this old book that I still have. I've got like a collection of notebooks that are essentially my diaries, but are songs and poems. And the very first one is a picture book. As a baby, I'd cut things out and I'd paste it. And then eventually you can see in the book where I would start to write little things, little poems. Yeah. And that eventually became a song about my dog, Charlie. And then it was a song about Daddy. And I met a good friend of mine who's been a friend of mine for years now when I was about that age. And he sort of focused me into writing and taught me just the structure of songs and how to draw inspiration and how not to care as well, and just to spill out on the page.
Get it out,
Exactly. Okay. And I then took it seriously from when I was about 12 as well. That whole space, and 15 became serious. And especially now visiting the States quite often, I spend a whole lot of time just in the middle of music, whether it's in a co-write, whether it's in writing by myself, whether it's writing a poem, or over hearing conversations and eavesdropping and picking up something. I'm just always in that space now, and it's just because I've got this love of conversation in music and telling that story. I've always loved Carole King. I love those sort of songwriters and that, and it just sort of has all grown from that space.
Okay. Well, and who were those? Were those your influences growing up? Who are some of your favorites back then and now?
Some of my favorite back then, of course, Carole King, Carpenters, Beatles, obviously. I'm a big 80s fan because my dad grew up in the 80s. So I was there with Dire Straits and the Thompson Twins. So I just love that sort of songwriting, that interesting storytelling.
Yeah, well, it was really, really good pop music in the 80s.
Totes! It was amazing.
The best.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I mean, I then grew up like in the early 2000s. So that music's in me, but I think the songwriting of those eras sort of stuck with me.
Yeah, it was a lot more sophisticated, wasn't it?
Well, perhaps. Each
more
to his
depth.
own, I guess. But yeah, that's my feeling on it anyway. And I think that's sort of pulled through to my songwriters, the songwriters that I love now. If you look at, I know, like Taylor Swift, how she writes songs, Billie Eilish, how she writes songs with her brother Phoenix, just like
Amazing.
those sort of, that you can see where they've pulled their inspiration from, and I dig that.
Yeah, yeah. And then guitar wise, when did you start playing, and how do you write? Do you write on piano, guitar, or do you just come up with? Yeah.
I started playing guitar when I was about 7, and
Also
also piano. So I grew up playing that. Initially, piano was my first writing instrument. I always find it easy because you can like see everything in front of you.
Yeah.
You can see all the keys, so it's very simple for dummies.
I don't get it, but anyway.
For me, it's easy. So that was the first thing, and then I fell in love with the guitar and what you can do with it. When it comes to writing, it honestly it depends on the moment and whatever it is.
Okay.
Either I'll have a tune in my head. And I'll like do a voice note on my phone, and then in the middle of the night, and then the next day go to the guitar and pick it out. Or I'll just be sitting at the piano. I love just sitting at the piano and just playing around with different chords and mixing up the numbers a bit. I think it's really fun. Putting in minors where they shouldn't be. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
So the piano sort of draws it out of me by itself, and the guitar is like my writing tool when I've got something, essentially.
And do you find that you write differently on piano and guitar? Different
think
styles of music,
so.
or there's a lot of people I've heard write more ballady stuff on piano.
On the piano, yeah.
And the guitar stuff's a bit more upbeat sometimes.
I don't know. I've written some vibey stuff on the keys before. I think they start out in the ballady because it's like very simple to like get. It's easy to get in that space when you're in the piano because you can create some beautiful notes and whatever, like deep down, use that as a bass, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it draws itself out of itself. But no, it honestly depends on the mood and how much coffee I've had that day.
And what do you prefer playing? Guitar, piano?
I think I prefer guitar because it's just easy to pick
Good
up and
answer.
go. Oh, thanks.
We don't like pianos around
Do we really not? I have to. I'm gonna like disagree, but like nicely.
I'm
like
teasing.
nicely disagree.
But guitar players are cooler than piano keyboard players.
I mean,
Let's be honest.
Sure.
Say it.
But Elton John's pretty legit.
No, he's cool. He's cool. He's the only cool one.
He's
I'm
very
joking.
cool. He's very cool.
And then lyrically, let's talk about. I mean, I know you said you get inspirations from everyday things, but what are your kind of favorite kind of topics to
write about?
Yeah, and how do you integrate those into the music, and what do you write first, and what's your process?
I think it depends on what room I'm in. So if I'm by myself, I have like lists and lists on my phone, different files with like lyrics and then titles and different names. So it depends on if I've overheard something or if somebody has said something to me, I'll sort of write that down.
And you do that on the spot, or do you wait till
on
you
the
get
go?
home?
No. I've sat in coffee dates with friends. I've said, hold on, you said something cool. Wait, okay, great, carry on.
Yeah, cool.
So I've sat in those places. But I think it depends on the room. If I could walk into a co-write and it'll just be like, let's pick something out of the air, and you can have a conversation with the person, get to know them, you find this common interest or something you've gone through together perhaps, and you then just need to write about it. I think Julia Michaels is like that. She like walks into a room, she'll get to know the person she's co-writing with, and she just draws that out of that person. They just write about that deep thing. Okay. So I think it just depends on the room. It's always fun. You never quite know what's gonna come out of you in a way.
And especially when there's someone else sort of prodding you in different directions.
Yeah. I've been stretched in in like a million different directions when it comes to co-writes.
Yeah.
And I find that if I never want to be, and I don't want this to sound weird, but I never want to be the best writer in the room. I always want to be somebody who's learning. Even if it's from somebody in my peer group, I always want to be somebody who's learning from that
I'm sure
space.
the best songwriters there are still learning as well. Otherwise, they would stagnate, I'm sure. You know?
That would be nice to know. I've written with some incredible people. There's a guy called Dennis Morgan, and he has just written some incredible music. And I sat in a write with him in the States, and I got there at like 11 or 10 in the morning, and he offered me a diet drink of some kind because he was on this diet binge, and we just started talking about our lives. I would mention that my mom, that we used to as a family own a horse called Flashing Rock, and he's like, "Oh, what a great name!" And he'd write this name down, and I said, "Oh, I don't know if I'm that typical. Oh, that's a great word, typical." and we just had these conversations.
Yeah.
I didn't quite know where he was going. He's a bit like Judge Judy in that way. She always says, "You will never know where I'm going."
Yeah.
And that's what Dennis Morgan is like. And by the end of it, I think I left there at maybe 12 o'clock that night after eating a burger and writing the song. And I had no idea at 10 o'clock that morning that I was going to end up leaving that room with such a cool, different song, because he just took it from a different direction. It was just interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, so let's talk more about that, you in the States. I actually met you in Nashville.
I know.
Which was pretty cool.
It was really cool.
And you mentioned off camera you're going to Canada as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your adventures in the States and Canada.
I've just had the most... I know I'm totally blessed. I've had the most incredible couple of last years just traveling and being able to experience a culture outside of mine, which as a now turning 24 very soon, I feel quite old. I'm turning 24. I feel like I've experienced
Granny May.
Granny May, that's me. I'm Granny May. I can't wait. Granny May. Yes, I'm gonna be the best granny. But I feel like I've experienced some really cool, interesting things. I've sort of built these friendships on that side. People that I can call up and say I'm going through a rough patch or whatever it is, and they're able to be there for me. I've kind of got like my adoptive family in the States.
The guys from Corner Music.
Yeah,
they're great guys.
They have adopted me,
Yeah.
and they've adopted my family, and they're just so cool and supportive. That's how we met at the Gibson.
At the Gibson party. Yeah.
Gibson workshop. That was really rad. No, and it's my first time going to Canada.
So what are you going to be doing there?
Also co-writes,
Okay.
meeting people, traveling there for the first time, experiencing. Honestly, I'm going to put on my walking shoes. I'm just going to walk everywhere, and of course a coat. I don't know how cold it's going to be.
Whereabouts in Canada?
Toronto, Montreal, between the two. So I'm expecting ice. I'm expecting ice age. As a South African, I'm not used to the cold.
Jesse Clegg, recorded his first.
Did he record his first one
his
there?
second album there.
Did he?
I think it was in Toronto. Just correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse. But he told me how cold it was, and he said it's nothing like you can't even imagine. It's like, it's cold, but imagine like 100 times colder.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll pack an extra pair of socks.
Maybe don't. Yeah.
No, I'll pack extra
maybe
socks.
some more
Don't worry.
socks.
No, that's fine. That'll work for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've experienced for the first time in my life I experienced Thanksgiving in the States, and that just on its own is like
big thing,
whole thing. Like we don't have that here. And my dad actually came with me to Nashville on that trip, and we then spent a couple of days in New York. He's never been. I love New York. Fell in love with it when I was 18, and we watched the parade, and it was just the thing about traveling is that you firstly learn to appreciate home a heck of a lot. I miss my dog. I miss my mom, miss my dad, I miss my bed, miss my sister. And you also just learn to grow as a person. You learn how to travel by yourself and to take responsibility for yourself. It's just it's like a whole nother thing to travel
so
like that.
you're spending like up to 3, 4, 5 months there in Nashville, aren't you?
I like to spend about 6 weeks at a time.
Okay.
Then I come back for a couple of months and I go back. So it's between 2 and 3 trips per year that I go.
That's hectic, eh?
It is, and the jet lag doesn't affect me anymore.
He's just used to it. So you're songwriting and gigging and
No, I mainly just songwrite there, and they've got writers' rounds that are just a way for songwriters to just showcase their music.
Okay,
it's not a paid gig or anything. You just get up on stage with a couple of other writers, and you spend about an hour on stage, and it's alternate between all the writers, and you can only play original music. You're not allowed to play any covers, and it has seriously taught me to have confidence in my music. Because I remember my very first trip there, I thought I went there with like the best songs, and this is going to be the best trip ever, and everyone's going to love me. And it was cool having the accent, and I was making friends and all that. But I just realized that my songwriting was good, but there was just a whole nother level that I wanted to get to. So I got in with those songwriters, and I worked my butt off to write with those guys, and got home and wrote with some great guys as well. My next trip, I just felt, you just can feel, you're now competing on a different level. And not that you want to compete, but you know that you want to be as good as the guys around you, if not
who are earning money off it.
And, for sure. So it was a whole nother lesson to have confidence in yourself and to not lose that self-doubt thing that is quite easily lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we talk about the writers' round thing that you're running in SA, let's quickly talk about how, without, I don't want you to sort of diss the local scene, but what do you think local singer-songwriters could do or aren't doing that could help them get to the level that there is in, say, Nashville?
Yeah, I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But just your personal opinion.
My personal humble opinion.
Yeah.
I like to write with as many different types of people as possible, and there's this one guy called Christian Bartman, and we connected through NSAI in Nashville, which is the Nashville Songwriting Association, and we're some of the only South African members.
Okay.
And we like to write together because we've got the same perspective when it comes to an outlook, when it comes to traveling to Nashville and all that. Yeah. And we just feel that if there is just more togetherness when it comes to songwriters,
a bit more unity,
I think,
fellowship, community,
I think creating that community together. We're human beings, it's natural for us to click. It's everywhere, it's in the States, and I know what it's like to try and get into the circle, so there are clicks everywhere. But I think that as South Africans, if we were just to co-write a bit more, work together a bit more, and it's definitely happening. I can't say that it's not happening. Yeah. I've been writing music as in full time since I was 18, and I've definitely seen a change in these couple of years. So there's definitely that space that's growing. But I think that if we were to do more of that, and if the top guys were to give the guys that are perhaps not as experienced a chance, I think that would also just raise the bar and would make them work harder because now somebody's sort of nipping on their heels. And I think that would be a great thing to happen in this country. It's happening, but I like to see more of it.
Okay. And what do you think about a musicians or songwriters union? Do you think that's possible to create one here?
I think it would be possible. There are plenty of songwriters.
Yeah.
And we all complain about different things. And we all get together over coffee and we complain about certain things. So
it's just like I think lots of people have been trying to get a musicians union as a whole going in SA, and it hasn't worked. But maybe.
Well, maybe we should try again soon. I think that it's definitely.
I think you should.
Okay, I'll pick up the torch. I got it. I get the hint.
Now, you already are helping a lot by the Writers' Round locally in SA. Tell us a bit about that.
Thank you. No, that's like a huge passion project for me. When I experienced a Writers' Round in the States, and they mainly happen in Nashville. In LA and New York, you have open mics, and you have to sign up, and the different levels of that, of course. Yeah. And in Nashville, you get Writers' Rounds, and it's in every bar, down every street. You know what it's like. Yeah. And I think, when I experienced that, there was just this thing of like community along with these songwriters, and I'd be playing a song and I knew it was in C or in G or capo 2 in G, whatever, and they would be like, yeah, we'll hop in, and they'd be jamming along with, and you suddenly feel this, oh yeah, okay, cool, this is good.
The energy just...
Completely. It changes your life. It really does. And I just wanted to bring that magic back. That's all I wanted. I felt this thing and I wanted to bring it back for somebody else to touch. So I got in contact with a couple of venues, with a couple of mates, and they got in touch with other mates, and I was like, we're doing this. And I now have my writers round, and it's just this group of songwriters that maybe don't want to be the singer on the track. Maybe they do. Maybe they just want their music out there. Maybe they're only starting. Maybe they're super duper experienced. I mean, we've had people like Cindy Alter there on my round. So we've had this mix of people, and it's creating that community. And suddenly I can WhatsApp Cindy and say, I'm having a bad day. And she'll be like, I got you, girl. Or I can message another mate of mine and they just get it. Or let's co-write. Or I've got this inspo. I know only you can write it with me. And it creates that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great at getting like-minded people together. So well done.
Thank you.
Do another one soon.
Yes, no, that's the plan. That's definitely the plan.
March.
Try my best. Definitely try my best. Keep a lookout on the Instagram pages.
Now let's talk about your new single.
Yay!
Tell us about it.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I wrote this song with a really cool guy called Jimmy Nevis. And I coming back from a recent trip to Nashville, I was just like in the space of wanting to do more co-writes, of just like jamming in a whole lot of writes in a week.
Now this isn't Jimmy Nevis, he was fairly famous in the 80s, wasn't he? No?
No.
Who am I thinking
Jimmy
of?
Nevis, no, from South Africa, Jimmy Nevis, dude.
No,
You'll know his music. You'll know his music for sure.
Okay.
But I went down to Cape Town for this trip. I wrote with Amy Chassing from The Voice, Art Matthews, Loki Rothman, Jimmy. And it was just a really cool, crazy week of just like doing my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And I walked into this room with Jimmy, and it was one of those things where you just sort of chat about life and you see what your common interests are. And it turned out Jennifer Aniston was like a common interest, of course, naturally. I was binging Friends at the time. I think he'd come off a binge, so it was just a natural thing. And I told him I was in the space of wanting to write these just simple melodies, simple songs. I was just in that space at the time, wanting to just write that. I was in this happy little place. And so we decided to write about this love story of Ross and Rachel. Don't make me wait 10 seasons for your love. And so the song is called Ross and Rachel. I released it on Monday, the 10th of Feb.
Right.
And it's just an acoustic version, back to basics of a song that I loved writing with a great guy. In that same week, I wrote with a guy called Loki Rothman, and
he's amazing.
He's awesome. He's so
amazing.
Cool. When we wrote, we just knew we were speaking the same language, and that writing session was also really interesting because I'd walked in with this idea. I had this finished verse and this chorus. I was bang average, but I had this verse I knew I believed in, and I said, "Let's make this magic." And he's like, "Yeah, this is cool." And we worked on the song and walked out that day with a great song. So he was just really interesting to write with. And because I clicked so well with him, I said, listen, I've got the song with Jimmy. Will you record it as like an acoustic vibe for me? And he was totally on board, loved the song, loved the simplicity. We both love a bit of a country pop feel thing. So I wanted to keep it modern country, but have the elements of me in it. Yeah. And he just soaked that up. And we recorded it, did a little music video for it. Okay. My friend Tyler.
We're going to put all the links to the music video in the link in the description.
The comment thing.
Yeah,
this
thing
here, it will appear here. It will appear here, coming across the screen. And that was really.
And we're going to put a link for a little video that Alexandra's going to film now in this room after we finish talking.
Yay! I'm so excited. Yeah. But no, it was really cool writing with Jimmy, working with Loki. Tyler Walker, who recorded the video.
Did Loki play guitar on it?
He did. He played electric on it. It was just really fun working with him, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was a great experience, and just released it on Monday, and I'm just really happy.
Now, what's in store for you for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year.
So you're going back to Nashville, Toronto. Album.
Not album just yet. We're one step at a time. We got the trip to Nash. And then I have a couple of more singles up my sleeve that I'm going to be releasing.
Cool.
Just after my trip to Nashville.
Okay.
And I'll keep y'all posted.
Keep it all posted, you hear? Now, social media links, where can people find you? Where can people find your music? Where can people follow you?
Yeah, all the follows and the double taps of the likings and all that. Well, I'm Alexandra May Music on every platform. Alexandra May Music on every platform.
That's easy.
And it is. I don't know if you guys use Deezer or Spotify or Apple or whatever you use.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, that's cool. CDs, vinyls, am I going the right direction?
Yeah,
tapes.
that's better. There we go. Now you speak my language.
Don't have any tapes or vinyls.
I don't do streaming.
Why not? Do you buy the
I buy the
that's
music,
great.
yeah.
Okay,
I buy the
cool.
whole albums.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's even more toward
Yeah.
us. Yay, happy days.
Fuck streaming.
No, sure.
Bleep that out.
No, sure, we'll bleep it. Bleep!
Bleep
Cool.
out the streaming part.
But you can find me anywhere on Alexandra May.
Ah, cool. We're out of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. She looks like Audrey Hepburn, eh?
I'll take that.
So Audrey Hepburn. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Pleasure. Thanks, guys. That's all for now. Follow all her links below. Download her music. Buy the albums. Buy the singles. Watch her music videos. You know where to go. Thanks, guys. That's all for now. Adios.